Hello everybody, I'm Roger Brown from Method, and today we're going to be talking about how to farm artifact power the fastest way possible. Now, a lot of you are probably reaching 25 artifact knowledge soon, at the early days of 2017, and you're probably wondering, what is the fastest way to get the artifact power needed to reach the maximum of 54 traits on my weapon? And even though you can just slowly farm that artifact power through world quests and emissaries and whatnot, here we're going to be talking about how to do it as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible. And that of course is through Mythic Plus dungeons. Now, the fastest dungeon to do is of course Maw of Souls. And the reason being that it's really small, it only has 3 bosses, and you can do big, massive trash pulls to cut down on that time. Now, how do you get a lot of Maw of Souls though? You'll have to use the group finder tool to get people with keys to join your group and basically give you their key while you're boosting them. Now, to do that, you want to go to the group finder, of course, pick dungeons, then Maw of Souls, Mythic Plus, of course, and put a title that definitely has the word boosting in it, since a lot of people are going to search for that. And then you want to search for keys from 4 to 9 Maw of Souls, and make sure to ask that they whisper you their key. And of course, don't forget to put your guild in there. The reason why you want them to whisper you their key is because we're going to be using an add-on called KeyBooster, which of course you can find at the description below the video. And what that will do is, as soon as someone queues up for your group and they whisper you their key, it will appear in a column showing the level of their key and which dungeon it is. So you can quickly determine if someone has the proper key or not. Now, as soon as you find someone with a key from level 4 to level 9 Maw of Souls, you can of course invite them. Also keep in mind that by doing this, you will probably lose a lot of hope in the WoW community, as they can't understand the simple title. Now, in terms of setup, you would like to have at least someone with an AoE stun, since we're going to be doing pretty big pulls, and it definitely helps having it. But in general, all you need is some good AoE damage, nothing else. And once you've got everyone in the group and inside the instance, you can start it off. Now, what you want to do is, since everyone has all their cooldowns, you got Bloodlust, you got everything, what you'll do is just run all the way to the boss, but don't pull the boss, and just pull all of the trash before the boss together. And assuming you have a good AoE damage in the group and you have an AoE stun, it should be relatively easy to just blast through all of these mobs. Now keep in mind that this footage is with the affixes Volcanic and Raging, and you cannot do this with every single affix out there, but with the majority of the affixes you can do these pulls. Now after you've killed the mobs, obviously you move on to the boss, easy peasy, and yeah, that's about it. Now to go back quickly to why we want keys from level 4 to level 9, basically there are 3 sweet spots in terms of the level of the keys. Level 4 is going to give you the easiest dungeon with a pretty good amount of AP waiting for you once you've completed it. Level 7 is another great sweet spot, because at level 7 you gain around 25% extra artifact power compared to level 4, while still having it at the lowest possible level. And level 9 is the third small sweet spot, because you can get some better gear when you complete it. Now, after you've killed the boss, you obviously want to instantly click through and you pull these 4 mobs together, because they pretty much do the same thing. You just avoid the barrels and just kill them. Just be careful if you've used all of your cooldowns before this. This pack might get a bit tricky if you're not looking out for those barrels. Then we're going to be pulling the mariner together with the dogs. It depends where the mariner is going to be patrolling at. as he goes all the way back and forth in the ship. So just be careful about the dogs leaping onto you, especially with raging affix, since it's gonna hurt a lot. Now, since we want to skip some mobs upstairs, and this big guy, the Grim Walker, doesn't really do anything, you can also pull these two mobs from the side of the boat that also don't do too much, and just cleave them down. This is just for efficiency reasons, you don't need to do this, but this is what we found to be the most effective way of killing the traps in the dungeon to get the full count. Now, another add-on that we find very helpful is the one you can see on the top right edge of the screen, which is the Angry Keystones add-on. And what this does is it shows you the timer with exactly how much time you have until you fail the +3 chests, then it goes down to the +2 chests. It shows you how many deaths you've had. It shows you basically everything you might want to know while doing the Mythic Plus dungeon without being cluttered up or anything like that. So it's a good addition to have. It's not needed. I think the KeyBooster is a more important add-on if you want these runs to go fast and smoothly, but you can get this also. There will of course be another link in the description of the video. Now, once you've pulled the second boss, there's not much to talk about here. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is that depending on how big a pull you want to do after this boss, you don't want to use all of your cooldowns here. If you take it slowly because of the affixes being a bit harder, or because you don't want to do a big pull, you want to take it easy, then you can of course blow all your cities here. But as we'll see later on, you can also do a huge pull after this, and you will need every single cooldown for it. Now, once the boss is dead, you're gonna be moving on to the main ship area, and you only need to kill one side of the ship to get the proper count. So here we're gonna just be pulling the first 2 packs, just taking it chill, because of course we don't want to wipe here. It's a big waste of time if you wipe, and this should be easily doable with any setup. Make sure you hit those interrupts of course on the heals. And quick question for you guys, is it just our guild, or is it a unified thing that the tanks always kick the fears from the champions in these packs? Let us know in the description below. Now, in the end, you want to pull both sides of these mobs. The good thing is that there are no healers, so it's pretty easy. But of course, be aware of the Defiant Strikes, don't stand in their way, or of these Ghosts, which are the most annoying mobs in this dungeon. Now, after you've killed all of these mobs, you should have exactly 92%, which is a perfect count, because the last mini-boss, Skull, or whatever his name is, gives you exactly 8%. As you can see, that is another thing that the Angry Keystones add-on does. It shows you how much percent each mob is going to give you when you mouse over it, which is pretty nifty when you're trying to figure out how many mobs you need to kill. Now, in terms of Helia, the only thing I have to say is that generally speaking, we've had more deaths in phase 1 than in phase 2. So it's a good idea to just blow all your cooldowns in phase 1, as if you enter phase 2 with everyone alive, you should really not wipe. Now, while we see the Helia fight being played out, I want to just quickly go over which affixes are good for this kind of farming, and which affixes are not so good, and you should try to avoid spamming mob souls during those weeks. So there are 8 possible combinations. The good ones are the one you just saw, Raging Volcanic, then you have Sanguine Volcanic and Sanguine Overflowing. These 3 combinations are pretty much the easiest ones. Then moving on to some that are a little bit harder, but not too much. You have Raging Necrotic, Teeming Necrotic, and Teeming Skittish, with the last one being hard only in case you have some melee in your group. Now, there are two that you should definitely try to avoid, and those are basically the bolstering ones. And that is bolstering Skittish and bolstering Overflowing. So definitely try to take advantage of the weeks with the easy affixes if you're gonna attempt this. Now, as some of you might already know, on the 4th of January, which is when most of you should be already at 25 artifact knowledge or really close to it, you should be getting it during that week. It is Sanguine Overflowing, the affixes for that week. So it's a pretty good idea to go and spam some dungeons during that time. Now, before we finish this video, I just wanted to show you that if your group is really geared and you have a good setup, namely you have a fire mage, which are really good for these massive pulls, you can go a bit more crazy and also pull the boss at the very start of the dungeon together with all of the other mobs, just to speed it up a bit so that he gets hit from all of the AoE. It doesn't really make it that much harder as long as your tank and healer are using their cooldowns properly. But it's not really needed, as you saw before. It's just a nifty thing you can do. And definitely try this when you're doing a level 4 dungeon. And then moving on, you can do a similar thing right after you kill the second boss. You want to instantly run as fast as possible. You use your sprints, use whatever you got, just to run all the way to the end of the ship and just pull all of the mobs together and just destroy them. Of course, this requires a stun, as mentioned before, and it requires a fire mage pretty much. You could do it with other classes, but you would need really good gear. Mages are just too strong here. Yeah, it's just a cool thing you can try out. Maybe you shouldn't try it at the level 9, but definitely try it if you get a level 4 or a 5 or something like that. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I'm Roger Brown from Method. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RogerBrown. I hope you enjoyed this video, and good luck farming that artifact power, those 54 traits. And I hope you have happy holidays and a happy new year. Throw us a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to leave a comment below if it's always your tank that interrupts the fears.